Okay, in this video, I would like to talk about EBS volumes and snapshots inside the AWS console. So as you can see, I have already logged into the AWS management console, and I go to the compute part, and I'm going to click on EC2. So we've already configured EC2 instances. You've seen that we had 3 options. Well, we have more options, but generally these 3 options are more important. One of them was just to launch the instance from here, which is going to be on demand. It's going to be over our control. We can stop it at any time and whenever we want, and we can start it whenever we want, and we have to pay the amount of money when we are using these EC2 instances. Another one, if you remember, was a spot request that we were bidding on a price with the AWS, and it wasn't any guarantee that these EC2 instances are running. Whenever the prices are lower than the one that we bid, then the AWS will run the EC2 instances for us, and it's gonna be for non-mission critical workloads. And the next one was reserve instances that we talk about it, and it's really good for the kind of workloads that we are going to run 24/7. Today, I would like to talk about images, specifically AMI images, EBS volumes, and snapshots. So if I click on the Elastic Block Store and the volumes, you can see that I'm seeing some volumes here. Well, you may wonder where these volumes are coming from. So we have kind of objects here. They have volume ID, they have size, and the type of the volume, number of IO per second that we can have, and you can see some snapshots here. So well, if I go back to the EC2 dashboards or to the instances here, you can see that I have a bunch of EC2 instances that I launched them before. There are four EC2 instances, right? If I go back to the volumes, you can see 4 volumes, and technically these are the root volumes, or these are the C drives of these instances. If it's Windows, it's going to be the C drive. If it's a Linux, it's going to be the root drive of these EC2 instances. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to power back on the virtual machine that I've already built from the previous videos. That if you remember, it was a web server, and then I'm going to take a snapshot of that EC2 instances, and I want to see what kind of settings we have for these EC2 instances and for the snapshot and also images of these EC2 instances. Okay, I'm going to start the EC2 instances. If you remember, we've already installed a web server on this one. So after powering on the EC2, we should see the IPv4 public here, and then we can access the web server. And if you remember, it was just the default web server of a very simple Linux machine. So I'm going to give this one a name as web server, for example. And I put the -01 at the end to make sure that this is just the first web server, for example. Now we have the public IP address. I'm just going to copy this IP address into the clipboard, and I'm going to open a new tab and paste the IP address here, and we have the test page of the web server sync here. So let's see what kind of options do we have related to the EBS volumes and snapshots. So first thing that we can do is I can right click on the EC2 instance. As you can see here, we have one option called image. This means that we can create an image from this EC2 instance that is already running. So don't forget, inside this EC2 instance, we already updated the YUM repository, already installed the HTTPD service or daemon inside the Linux machine, which we converted it to a web server. If you create an image from this EC2 instance, it means you are building a brand new image, or AMI, or Amazon machine image, that it has the web server already installed in. It's pretty simple. I can click on create image, and you can see this is the instance ID, and at the end is 790, right? If I close this one, 790 is the instance ID of this EC2 instance that is running right now. So I can create an image from this one, and I can just give it a name like for example, web-based image, and a description. I'm going to copy and paste this one. So this is the root volume. It's going to be 8 gig, and we are basically creating an image. It's going to be same as the EC2 instance that is running. We can add also more volumes. Simply, I'm going to select create image, and it says, okay, it's kind of a request and it's in pending, but it's going to take some time. We can click on this one, and we go right away to the images AMI, and it's creating one image for us right now. Well, it's funny, if I go back to the volumes, I've already have if you remember, I had 4 volumes for EBS volumes. There are still 4 EBS volumes. So this is right now an AMI. It's an image, and you can build another EC2 based on this image really easy. Let's say I can right click on this one and I can launch a new EC2 instance from this one. It's really easy. You see, we are going through the same process as we went before for creating EC2 instance, but the difference is that if I click on review and launch here, and I'm going to the summary page, and I can just click on the launch and I can select the previous keys that I used, for example this one. So I'm building an on-demand EC2 instance that this one is technically based on the web server that we already took an image. So when this one comes up, it's going to be exactly same as the web server 01, and we already have actually the IP address. Let's try to see if we can see the web page. It's going to take some time. It's not still, but it's just a matter of some time. As you can see, it's running right now, and it should be an image of this web server 01. So you may ask why I'm talking about the AMI or images before going to the volumes, but basically it's really good for the high availability. Let's say you want to build 2 web servers in 2 different availability zones for high availability. You can build one of them, the first one, and then you can take an image, and then you can easily use that image, which is an AMI, for using in other web servers and spin up new EC2 instances easily. So this is one of the use cases that we can have. Another one is if I go on my web server, so we'll still wait for that one to run. So I'm going to check this EC2 instance to see why this one is not running. I'm going to check this EC2 instance. This is actually the new one that we've just run based on the image that we've already took. And as you can see, we cannot see the web page. So the first thing that I'm going to check is the security group of this EC2 instance. I'm going to check via inbound rule. And as you can see, the port 80 is not open. That's why we cannot see the website. I'll talk about the security group later, but easily I can click on this the name of the security group here, and I can go to the inbound and I can add the HTTP here. Easily we can see the website from anywhere. Then I'm just going to click on the save, and I'm going to back to the page and try to reload this page to see if we can see the website. Now we can see the website. So it was the security group. Going back to our instances here, so now we have 2 web servers. So web server -02, and these are same as each other. They are identical, and we can put them in different availability zones, and they are kind of high available to each other. So another thing that I would like to talk is I'm going to the Elastic Block Store here, and I'm going to click on volumes. Well, right now we have 5 volumes here, and each of these volumes are attached, you can see from here, to one of these EC2 instances. And as you can see here, we have web server 1 and web server 2. If I click on this EBS volume and right click here, we have a bunch of options, which I would like to take a look at the create snapshots one today. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the snapshots, but with the snapshots, if you're new to snapshots, we are taking one snapshot. It's like capturing the current state of the volume in somewhere in the file system or in the vendor, that depend on the vendor that we are using. They're using multiple technologies, but we are capturing the state of the file system, and we can revert back to it at any time we want. Imagine that it's like a short-term backup. We can't say the snapshots are backup, but it could be a very short-term backup for reverting back to the previous state of the file system and previous state of the system. So I'm going to create snapshots. Just give it a name like snap1, and you can add tags, for example. As always, my recommendation is snapshot. The tags are really important. I'm going to click on create a snapshots, and this is just a request, so we can go to this snapshot to see what is the status of this snapshot. As you can see, it is in the pending state. It's going to take some time, and the size of snapshot is unfortunately same as your EBS volume, and we can revert to this one whenever we have any issue with our EBS volume. So we have to wait for this snapshots to finish, but if I right click on this one, we already have some options here, and you can see you can create volume and you can create image based on this snapshots. It's really a good thing right now, and as you can see, you can easily create a new volume that's going to be an EBS volume, and you can attach it to any EC2 instance that you want. Or you can use this snapshot and create image, and that's going to be a new image, new AMI image, and you can use it whenever you want inside the AWS console. That's really easy. Get yourself familiar with the EBS volumes and snapshots, but technically Whenever you are spinning up any EC2 instances, the volumes and the capacity inside these EC2 instances, they are just EBS volumes, and they're volumes that you can save your data inside the EC2 instances, inside your virtual machine and compute. We'll talk about other storages that we can leverage inside the AWS, but this is one of them, and we can use them inside our EC2 instances. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.